Steve Cunningham, Joel Steven Cunningham, nickname Quick. Came when I was about 13 years old and stuck.
Wow.
And people still call me Quick.
Still call you Quick,
yeah,
huh?
So born here in Los Angeles General Hospital. Family lived here in Pasadena. Went to Lincoln Elementary School. From there went to Washington Junior High. Then from Washington Junior High to Pasadena High School, which was at college at that time. Pasadena was high school and college combined. Yeah, so that up until 59, I think, they built Pasadena High School. And John Muir was also college and high school.
I didn't
So
know that.
once they built Pasadena High School in 1959, Pasadena Junior College became just a junior college. Pasadena High School built out on Sierra Madre, and Muir became just a high school. And that was pretty unique for us, growing up as kids, to come up through high school in a college environment. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. A lot more freedom than high school students probably should have had. But
yeah, college students around.
Other than that, it was a lot of fun.
That's nice.
A lot of fun. And the great thing about Pasadena, kids that you called the South End was anything on the other side of Colorado. So that was McKinley Elementary and Junior High School. And predominantly the black community on that side of town went to McKinley, Washington Junior High on this side. And you knew everybody in each school as far as the black community was concerned. But it's almost everybody.
Yeah,
you know, and all the communities were small enough, we almost knew everybody in Los Angeles.
Wow. How would you define the community at that time versus the community today?
Family community.
Yeah.
I was growing up, when you say it takes a village to raise a child, that was every parent knew you and your parents. So it was a family environment, mainly because kids had a lot of freedom. It was very safe. All the kids could play in the street. Everybody walked, and everybody, you know, no television, so we played baseball, football, track in the street.
That's nice.
So everybody lived outside, and you had to entertain yourself.
Yeah.
Nothing's organized.
And it is now.
You just played in the neighborhood. Every neighborhood was full of kids.
Yeah, that's
so
nice.
So everybody was surrounded with kids. You knew everybody. You knew everybody's parents. If you did something wrong, hey, their parents were in touch with your parents before you got home. But now it's grown to the size the people don't know each other. It's quite a different atmosphere because as kids, we had organizations that put a lot of events together. We had, like, Tuesday nights during the summer, we had films where all the kids were there.
Fun.
Thursday night, Memorial Park, the Gold Shell. We had films there on Thursday night. Everybody in Pasadena would be there. You know, we had the Scattergood was like a little youth center. Ping pong and cards and dancing and music. Another place that everybody could come together. On the south end, down on past Dayton, it was called the the Settlement. And we went down the same thing, played basketball, just a place to gather.
Yeah.
And so all the kids were together at all times, in a sense.
Nice.
I mean, all of the kids in Pasadena.
Yeah, it wasn't.
So it was one big family. And the great thing about it, if somebody moved to Pasadena, a black family, before the kids got in school, everybody knew where they came from, how many kids were in the family, and what school the kids were going to go to. It was that.
Just welcome to the family.
But couldn't find a nicer community to grow up in.
That's nice. You would have been a middle young kid in the World War II years. Do you remember anything?
I was too young for World War II. Now, regarding World War II, this is where my father really made his name. Being a small community, everybody that pretty much in the black community that went to, was involved in World War II, being a small community, almost everybody that came home went to work for my father in construction.
Wow. Wow.
So a lot of the guys would start out as a laborer. They'd become a finisher. They'd become a carpenter. They'd go on to be what do you say, a sheriff in the sheriff's department, the police department.
Wow.
Worked for the city, Woodson Valentine, mortuary. I mean, just but they came home and they had a job, and that was enough to get their family situation, buy a home, and then they moved on from that.
Yeah, wow, that's
But
nice.
everybody that came home pretty much had a job.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, and were people living smaller during the years when you had the rationing?
Everybody was living pretty small.
Yeah.
I would say, I don't think anybody realized they were poor. Because everybody seemed to do and have pretty much everything they wanted.
Yeah.
And we were pretty well privileged because my dad, he always, owning his own business, he did good.
That's
He
great.
didn't become very rich, but he helped a lot of other people get very rich.
Yeah, that happens.
So, but he lived a great life.
That's wonderful.
And was more into the work than into the management.
Wow, that's nice.
But based on our reputation as far as the quality of work is concerned, never out without work, and really had more work than we could do.
Did you build a lot of homes?
A lot of homes out in Arcadia, back when those homes were new homes. Homes up and out, all over. In fact, all over Southern California.
And of course the federal building in downtown Los Angeles.
And a lot of commercial buildings. The last building I worked on in Los Angeles was the Crocker building.
Oh.
And that was the tallest building downtown at that time, 42 stories.
Wow.
Now they dwarf it. It's here, and all the rest of the buildings are like this. But at that time, that was the 42 stories. That was the largest building.
And when did you move into real estate from the contractor?
I went into real estate in 1960. I left Pasadena, moved to Los Angeles. Went in with a friend of mine. He was a Tuskegee Airman, Robert Porter.
Wow.
Hunwat Investment and Realty over in Leimert Park.
Oh, wow.
And that was quite an experience for me because it was the opportunity there gave me a chance to really, how can I say, expand my education. Mainly in construction, you're in an environment where you know the work, but as far as education is concerned, you're not writing, reading, or you're
doing.
You can read pen, you're doing. You're building, So going into real estate now, all of a sudden, I had to upgrade my reading, my spelling, and writing contracts and things. It was a whole new experience, but that was a good one for me at that time.
Yeah. Was it commercial and residential, or
mainly residential?
Yeah.
Residential. Commercial is a whole different area. You almost have to specialize in commercial. Residential strictly, and it was good for me. I met a Earl Johnson, who was a real estate speculator. He got me in, became my partner, and got me into World Savings and Loan as an appraiser. So Irving Neal had an exclusive agency over on Vernon with World Savings and Loan, and basically we went to work out of his office as appraisers, and ended up buying my own real estate office, and we worked as mortgage brokers more so than selling real estate.
Yeah, wow.
So what happened as being appraisers, we had a system where we'd go out and appraise 5 houses a day.
Wow.
5 houses a day, you'd find 25 houses a week, 3 fantastic deals.
Wow.
So then we start buying, up the deals. To the point we even got in trouble. We bought more property than we could afford to keep, you know, because each one turned out better than the next one.
That's great.
And see, in those days, the savings and loans weren't into the real estate business. They were in the loan business. So foreclosures was just a red mark on there. So we could get those homes for almost nothing.
Yeah, wow.
I drive around Pasadena and I look at a lot of the homes that I looked at. In those days, the homes were selling $16,000, $15,000.
And now
this is 1960, 61, 62.
Yeah.
You see, I look at a lot of homes that everything was between $15,000 and $18,000.
Wow.
And you know, I look at the prices now.
Not anymore.
Now they're 418.
And that's on the low end, right?
Yes, on the low end. But it was a good time. I really enjoyed that, a good experience for me. And even though I went into real estate, became an appraiser, became a mortgage broker, I never stopped doing concrete work.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so then 1967, I came back to Pasadena. The Watts riots actually put me out of business.
Oh, yeah.
It put me out of business.
Yeah.
We had probably 11 loans in. So we'd wrap houses up, appraisal. And we did everything. We did the appraisal, the application, submitted it, and we were working on points. So you just keep submitting them, you see. And you're not making much, $13,000, $14,000, $16,000, $20,000. You're only making $200, $300. If you made $400 off of one house, that was a big, big deal. So, you know, you just keep putting out, you always had a few $100s coming out. So it's kind of like you had a paycheck coming. Not much off of anyone, you know, and average probably $250, $300 off a house. And then what happened, the Watts riots went down, and they kind of redlined the district because of all the destruction and the fire. They redlined the black district. So our district was the black district, and that was from Washington Boulevard on the north to Imperial on the south, Alameda on the east, to Crenshaw on the west. Well, at that time, that was the whole black area.
Wow.
So all those loans fell. You couldn't get a loan on a piece of property. I got out of real estate, moved back to Pasadena, and opened up a restaurant.
Oh, you did? Wow. What was the restaurant called?
It's called The Gallery.
Oh, yeah?
On Lincoln Street, a soul food restaurant.
Oh, nice. How long did you run the
And
restaurant?
that only lasted a couple of years. And funny story, knew nothing about the restaurant business. It was an existing business, and they were going out of business. And the guy, a friend of mine, his cousin owned it. So he came by and picked me up and said, I want you to take a look. And I go up and I meet him, and he's getting ready to just close the place down. He had been in business about a year and a half and didn't generate any business, but it was just sort of a bare bones restaurant. And so I walk in and I look around and I say, well, short story, I walked out with the keys. And then what I did, I just went in and made it look like a little nightclub. I painted the walls sort of off orange with olive green trim, and put pictures all over the wall and hung up mobiles. And it looked like a little, and put indoor, outdoor carpet on the floor. I said, I'm going to have the first restaurant with carpet on the floor. But it looked like a little club.
Yeah.
But did great business.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand the food business, so my downfall was trying to do too much.
That's a tough business.
trying to do full breakfast, full lunch, and full dinner. Not knowing any better, I tried to open at 6:30, 7 o'clock for breakfast. Didn't close on weeknights till 10 o'clock.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
On weekends, we didn't close until 12 o'clock.
Wow. Wow.
And so it turned out we were working like 18 hours a day.
Wow.
But the business was good.
Mm-hmm.
After about a year and a half, the fun wore off, and I sat down, and all the money's going back into the business pretty much.
Yeah.
And I sat down and figured out I was working for about $1.25 an hour. and for what we were, was taken out. And,
yeah.
And that, so I closed it down, and people couldn't understand, with a business
They
like
loved
that,
it.
how are you going to close it,
Yeah.
And it was nigh on the weekends. I'd even have a little band in there,
Nice.
a trio, it was like a little nightclub.
Mm-hmm.
After 10 o'clock, we would serve chili and hamburgers, no more dinners, and coffee, and charge a little extra after.
Yeah.
12 o'clock.
That's nice. Yeah, it's a lot of work to put in for.
Yeah, in a little restaurant, you're always shopping. You're shopping every day, and I'm still doing concrete work too. And it was like, well, the concrete work supported all these businesses.
Yeah. Wow.
In a sense.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So that was sort of my restaurant experience.
And no more after that.
No more after that. No.
Just going to restaurants.
Too much work.
Yeah.
And it was basically 18 hours, because once you close down, now it's almost a couple hours of cleaning up for the next day.
Wow.
I closed at 10 o'clock. I didn't get out of there till 1 o'clock.
Oh my goodness.
If I closed at 12 o'clock, I didn't get out of there till 3 o'clock.
Wow.
And then we're back open at 6 and 7 in the morning.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
hard.
That's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
So
And,
when did you meet your wife, and was she a Pasadenan as well?
No,
Is she?
she's from New York.
Ah.
Yeah, she's from New York. I've been married a couple of times. I have my first wife. I have 3 girls, and my second wife, I have a son and a girl.
And that's Ronnie?
That's 5 kids.
Is Ronnie the son? Your son?
No.
Ronnie.
Ronnie Cunningham is my cousin. He is his father was Ronnie Cunningham, also my father's youngest brother.
Ah, okay.
But
okay.
Ronnie was my age. His father was my age.
Okay. And so you've been married now. This is your second wife. You've been married for.
No, this is number 4.
Oh, wow.
Number 4.
Well, you learn as you grow.
Yeah,
so
all were great. All
That's
were
good.
great, and blessed with beautiful kids.
That's wonderful.
Loaded with grandkids.
Oh,
and
that's
great.
Great.
Grandkids.
Yeah, great grandkids.
Yeah, 12
Excellent.
great.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, I got one graduating from high school in Las Vegas on the 8th of June.
Wow. So you're going to go out and attend the ceremony?
I'm going to try, and tomorrow I have a grandson graduating in Arizona. He's going to Arizona State. So I have graduations every week.
Oh, yeah. It's that time of year.
That time of year, yeah. And I'm proud of them.
That's wonderful.
They're doing great.
Congratulations. Well, it seems like you and your father both kind of self-starters and reaching out and,
Well, my dad, he was a worker, a real worker. That's all he did was work.
Yeah.
And it was great that he gave me a trade. So as a young kid, I was really, really blessed, because I was a good cement mason. Even though I was a kid, he paid me only like about $25 less than he paid everybody else. So for a young kid, I was in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
I was into clothes. Most of my money went for clothes. I don't think I opened a bank account until I got married.
That's nice.
But it was good to be young and to have a trade, so I never had to work for anybody else.
Yeah. And what kind of stuff did you guys do as young people for fun on the weekends and dates? And
Brookside Park was a big thing. We, like as kids, our big thing was like weekends we'd go to the park, we'd swim at the park, we'd play football at the park, play baseball at the park, and it was a gathering place. Brookside Park, right, if you didn't know what was going on, you rode down, and pretty much you're going to see everybody in Pasadena at one time or another. So that was the place to go. Movies, we did everything in Los Angeles. It was a small community. We knew most of the people in Los Angeles so far as parties, dances, events. We went to everything that's happening here. They came to Pasadena for everything here, so that was still a small community.
Yeah, yeah.
Even as far as Santa Monica, Compton, and it still was just a black community. It was a small community. So if you were out involved, you knew all the kids everywhere. Yeah, the kids from Santa Monica spent just as much time here in Pasadena as they did.
That's different from today's.
Oh yeah,
you know,
quite different.
Everything's gotten so much farther apart, even though it's physically the same distance.
And it's, the communities are just different, and it's not that environment. There were house parties were the big thing, you know, in those days. Every Friday, Saturday night, somebody is having a house party, and you're never without parties.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, that was our #1 recreation.
Yeah.
We were involved in a club called the Crusaders. We gave a lot of dances.
Oh, that's nice.
We gave, I mean, as young as 16, 17, 18 years old, we gave concerts like at Lincoln Elementary School with big time jazz names.
Wow, like what kind of, would you remember any of the acts that you had at the...
Dexter Gordon, Wardell Gray.
Oh, wow.
They were big. Dexter Gordon's just bad. Wardell Gray passed young.
Yeah.
But they were big names at that time. Bobby Hutcherson grew up with us, and big name. Herbie Lewis, loads of talent came out of Pasadena.
That must have been great.
Yeah, so yeah, we were just a great spot. Great athletes came out of here. Great musicians, great artists. Just what do you call a community full of gifts?
Yeah, it sounds like it was. I mean, it's kind of, it's still a nice. Pasadena's still a nice place. It's just bigger.
It's just bigger, and the environment is set up now to where people just don't have the opportunity to come together on a daily, weekly, even monthly basis. There's no place anybody goes that everybody meets. It's not like, it's like living in a big city.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, not a small community.
Yeah, yeah.
And the kids, I have great grandkids, and I see their problems.
Yeah.
Their kids are in the house. They go to school, they come home, they're not out in the streets. They're not running around the neighborhood. They're in the house. Now, like one of my grandsons, his biggest problem when he goes to school, he thinks this is time to play. Well, it's time to learn, and he's got to pound that into their head, but it's like their playtime because it's the only time they're around other kids. We try to keep them in as many programs, you know, as we can, but as we grew up, every community, every street was loaded with kids. We played football, baseball, everything out in the street. And the kids were together, and you could walk Pasadena to 10, 11 o'clock at night. That's a little tiny kid, and there was no problems.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's not like that.
Yeah, and everybody's parents looked out for everybody, you know, and just quite a different day. And now, hey, everybody there, you won't let your kid walk to the next block.
No.
So different day.
It is. It's hard, and I don't know. In this neighborhood, you may have all lived here long enough that you know your neighbors, but it used to be that you knew everybody. And,
well,
you know.
I'm blessed to be in this neighborhood now. Like nice. I know almost everybody in this neighborhood, and the best neighbors you could possibly have.
That's wonderful.
And a funny story, Homer Boolin lives next door to me here. He lived next door to me when I went to Washington Junior High School. 1947.
Wow.
48. He was my next door neighbor.
Did he follow you, or did you follow him?
He just, Mr. Blakely lived there. He was a world-renowned trumpet player, and he was playing all the way up to the age of 84. He was still traveling around the world.
Wow.
A group of his guys bought into a retirement community in Sun City, and he moved with them, sold his home, and Homer became my neighbor, which was we were meant to be together.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it just happened that way.
Yeah. Are there any experiences, stories you have about anything that was a challenge?
Well, a lot of lucky breaks. Construction. I had the opportunity to meet a fellow named Gene Makel. He was America's doubles champion, tennis champion.
Oh, wow.
And we created the little rotary pattern. You see sidewalks with a little fan pattern. But we created that.
Wow.
And so I got to travel all over the country putting in tennis courts because we could create this rotary pattern, a little fan pattern.
How cool.
And I met Gene Makel, and he was a sports fanatic, and he considered himself the only authority on tennis courts, and hired us, and we built all of his tennis courts all over the world.
Wow.
He built the first tennis courts on the island of Bermuda.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
A resort called Pink Beach.
Oh wow.
And that was like big time.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
My father had pictures from the newspapers, but we had like 3 pages of the first page.
Wow.
Out pouring concrete, little tiny, all the roads were for like horse and buggy, so there's all small cars on the island except for military. So they had little miniature concrete chucks. Would that
have been maybe like the 1950s or
60s?
63. Oh wow.
63.
Wow. So the first tennis court on Bermuda. Excellent.
First concrete, they had clay courts.
Clay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I got a chance to travel all over the country, Arizona, New Mexico, New York, all building tennis courts.
Wow.
And I didn't go to the service, so I had an opportunity of doing a lot of traveling, building tennis courts, and that was quite an experience.
Yeah.
And then, probably after that, I went to work in 1969 with NBC.
Oh.
So I decided I wanted to be a film director.
Oh wow.
And speaking of concrete, now one day we were coming back from doing a building down in Long Beach, and we're coming through South Central LA, and I see a sign that said Watch Training Center, motion pictures and television. So I said, Dad, back up, let me go, I want to go check that out. So he takes me back, I go in and get an application, and I go home and I fill it out, and I call him and I go in for the interview, and I meet this guy, Bill Dubois. He was a black guy, became a good friend. He was a cameraman on The Tonight Show. He was one of the founders of it. So we got pretty close. I got into that program. They had the classes at USC. And what he did, he brought in cameramen, film, audio people, video people from NBC and all the studios to teach the classes. So when I finished that, he kept telling me that go to NBC and put in an application. And I had decided I wanted to be a film director. That was my whole goal. I'm going to be a film director. Nothing's going to change. And I said, television, I'm not interested in television. I'm going to be a film director. Well, a buddy of mine, Gene Simpson, was working on the Bill Cosby show, the first one, over at Warner Brothers. So that got me in there. So I was on the set every day of the Bill Cosby show trying to get a shot of directing a segment, since he was rotating directors. And pretty much all the blacks that became directors were all there waiting in line. Ivan Dixon was an actor, good friend of mine, and you know, he became everybody that wanted to be a director was waiting for these first credits. So I finally go put in an application with NBC, and I have an interview, and I forget about it, you know, because every day I'm at Warner Brothers, I'm waiting for this shot to direct a segment. And probably 3 weeks before maybe I would have gotten my shot, NBC calls me. I come home here about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, phone rings, and it's NBC. And they asked me, would you like to come to work for a summer relief? And I said, you know, I thought about it, and I said, well, I've only been to school, and everything I've done has been free and never had a job in the industry. You know, so I said, yes. So this was on a Thursday. They said, well, be here at 9 o'clock Monday morning. And go in Monday morning, 9 o'clock, and they have me pulling cables on Days of Our Life, the soap opera.
Wow.
In Days of Our Life, my wife was a production manager. She just retired as production manager for Days of Our Life.
Wow. How
Which
interesting.
I became the lighting director for Days of Our Life years later for about 8 years.
Oh, wow. And so when did you start with Days of Our Life? When was that?
That was February of 1969.
Wow.
They had been on the air 4 years, I think, before that.
Excellent.
69, so I think like 64, 65 is when they started.
Wow, you've done so many interesting things in one life. A lot of interesting experiences.
Well, I started back early with Laugh In, Dean Martin.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Sanford did all of Sanford and Son, all of Flip Wilson, all of Chico and the Man, all of CPO Sharkey, Dean Martin, Don Knox, pretty much everything.
Wow.
So yeah, I was blessed. I was there at the right time and got a chance to do everything. And then there's 4 Super Bowls, probably 5 World Series. So, you know, it's just been blessed. The timing was right, you know, and you know, then I got tired. First doing sports was really a fun thing after working in the studio, but then that became old because every weekend you're catching a plane or you're going somewhere, you know, and then now that catching a plane every weekend is getting to be old stuff.
Yeah.
So when I came back, I said it's time to, that's when I became a lighting director.
Wow.
So I started out doing cables, ended up doing camera. Then I went to a lighting director, and so I had 20 years as a lighting director.
Wow.
And I retired from, I did The Tonight Show for 12 years, well actually 14 years, 6 years with Johnny Carson. And then when Jay started, and I left that to start Access Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
So I started up Access Hollywood, and that's what I retired.
Wow. Wow.
I've been retired 11 years.
Wow. That's really interesting. Is Days of Our Lives where you met your wife, or?
No, she worked in the office. I met her way before she became a production manager. And I watched her come right up the line. She was a secretary in the production manager's office and ended up the head production manager.
Wow. That's really interesting.
So very good.
Yeah.
So she's been retired since January.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
48 years.
48?
48 years.
That you've been married?
No,
that she worked for
NBC.
Wow.
She started at 17 right out of high school in
That's
New York.
amazing. That's amazing.
It was RCA.
I mean, show business is another, like the restaurant business. I mean, you have to to do your thing to work in it for
48 years. Look, that's a long
Wow.
time. So
Wow. Yeah.
She did great.
That's excellent. So now you're just sort of enjoying the good life, huh?
So trying to enjoy retirement.
Yeah. So
and I always had a business on the side. You know, so now I'm into healthcare.
Oh. It's
So
like
I'm
clinics
trying to help people look better, have
Nice.
a sense of well-being,
That's nice.
have more energy.
You advertise it well, so.
Yeah, sleep better, hey, release a few pounds.
Wow.
And then, I say, well, everybody say, well, everybody need, I need that. Which everybody does. They need great nutrition.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you, what is your business? What do you do with that? Or is it?
It's Isagenix. They're the world leader in full body nutritional cleansing and replenishing.
Oh.
Easy philosophy, cleanse all the junk out of you, the toxicity and the impurities. Load up with all the nutrition, the enzymes and amino acids, everything you can't get out of the food supply.
Yeah,
because it's not in there. It's not there. So everything pretty much modified, genetically modified.
Yeah.
So food is not quite the food we grew up with.
No, it's not as wholesome. It's not as natural.
It's just not. There's no food in the food.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I went into this. I figured I could do more for people, eliminating physical pain and financial pain.
That's nice. It's very nice. So you just keep going, huh?
Just keep going. And my wife says, why don't you just sit down and enjoy your retirement? I said, no, I can't.
This is how you enjoy your retirement, apparently. You just keep going.
Just keep going. Yeah, you got to keep going.
Yeah, that's nice. Did your dad have a good time? Did he retire?
Retired really not until about 82. And was still trying to work.
Wow.
Still taking jobs. And I'm saying, hey, you can't even walk around out there on the, oh yeah, I can do it, but
yeah.
He had a lot of knowledge, and he was able to really help a lot of people.
I'm sure he got a lot of pride out of, being somebody so important to a lot of people, their livelihood, their,
Yeah, and that's really his legacy is what he did for others. Yeah, and lived a great life. He's 96 and doing great.
Wow, that's wonderful.
He's in Las Vegas.
He's in Las Vegas, right?
My youngest brother is living with him. Yeah, once he passed 95, he's been there about a year, and we said we're going to have to bring him back here to Pasadena, or somebody's going to have to live with him. Yeah. I mean, how long can you keep going?
Yeah.
96, 97, 98. I mean, so my brother had to move in.
Yeah.
Now they have a real beautiful place, a nice 2-bedroom. He always had a 1-bedroom up until a year ago. And the main thing, my brother keeps him walking every day, and that's the main thing.
That's good. Was he born in Pasadena as well, your dad?
No, South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina.
He came out when he was 2 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he came out in 1918. And my grandfather came here, my grandfather came here in 1914.
Wow.
Yeah, he worked for 3 years.
And then brought his
called the family
Wow.
to come out.
Wow.
Yeah, so my dad and 2 of the brothers, my aunt and 2 brothers were born here. Everybody else, were born there.
Yeah.
All the rest of his brothers and siblings were all born here.
Wow. Wow.
And my mother came from Pasadena. And her family was all in San Bernardino.
Oh, wow.
My great aunt just passed away in September last year, 106.
Wow.
And she was writing a personal development book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was the first black school teacher in San Bernardino County.
Oh, my goodness.
She graduated from the University of Redlands in 1936. But blacks couldn't teach in California at that time. So she went to Prairie View, Texas, and taught until 1942. Came back in 1942, 1943, she became the first black school teacher in San Bernardino, then became the first black principal.
Oh, wow.
Then the first black school superintendent.
Wow, in California?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
They
amazing.
named the Dorothy Ingram Librarian in San Bernardino, was donated to her in 1975.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And a community center, Dorothy Ingram Community Center.
Wow.
So she is quite a lady.
Yeah, yeah.
And on her 105th birthday, she invited 60 of her students and the party was more for her students than anybody else. She had written 60 personal development books to give out to her students.
Oh my goodness. How old were the students? Were they from the years, different
Her
ages? Or?
students, yeah, they were all the way back. All her students were old folks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
you know,
amazing.
my age, 70,
Wow.
60, 70.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But did she start out teaching like elementary, middle school, high school, different?
I think she started out teaching middle school. Middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So she was quite a lady, and she drove up until she was 103.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and never stopped riding, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, really quite a lady.
Wow. And she just passed away in September of last year?
Yeah,
Oh,
she
wow.
was my mother's father's youngest sister.
And your mother's family were from Pasadena or
San Bernardino.
San Bernardino. That's right.
Bernardino,
That's right.
yes. But that brings us pretty much all the way up
Yeah, yeah.
to today. I'm kind of proud. I was the youngest journeyman cement finisher in the country.
Are you serious? Was that at 17 or
At
how?
17.
Wow.
Well, what happened, we were doing the big buildings downtown,
Uh-huh.
and they're union jobs. So in the summer, I'd work with my father, and I'd be out there, and, you know, I was a good finisher.
Mm-hmm.
And the union guys come around, and, you know, he'd talk to me, and, you know, I'd tell him, well, I'm working for my dad, I'm going back to school, you know. So next year, 16, they come back, you know, well, I'm working for my dad, I'm going back to school. The third year, I'm 17. They said, no way, you got to get in the union. They made me a journeyman finisher at 17.
Wow.
Now, you're not supposed to get in the union until you're 18,
Yeah.
and you got to serve 3 years apprenticeship as a waiver.
Yeah, yeah.
It's written.
Yeah.
So, you know, well, they knew I was a good finisher. So
Yeah.
their attitude, I'd been getting away for 3 years. So they just put me in at 17.
Wow, that's amazing. In the country. The youngest in the country because nobody else was doing it at
Well,
17.
if you went by policy, you
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
even become apprentice until you're 18.
Wow. That's nice though. You had a nice gig right out the gates, you
Right
know.
out the gate, yeah. No, I was blessed.
Yeah.
I was really blessed. So yeah, it was good. And then I was blessed too because my mother, you know, I think of mothers working now. You know, we weren't rich, but my mother didn't have to work, so I had a mother and a grandmother at home all the time. And you know, that's something kids don't have. So I got to realize that I was really blessed.
Yeah,
You kind
that's
of take
nice.
it for granted, you know, but when you think about conditions and, you know, that's a big thing, you know.
Yeah.
I had somebody there all the time, you know,
Yeah.
and so
That's nice.
naturally you don't think about it at that time. I don't think you think about it now. Well, I'm really soliciting single women because I have an opportunity where they can work from home and make a full-time income.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing is to be able to stay at home and raise your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And because I see the majority of mothers here, hey, they're working hard, they drop their schools like a babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got to have another program that the kids go to because they can't pick them up to a certain time. They just don't have the time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then hey, everybody's busy and everybody's in a hurry. And hey, you have to eat, you know, at convenience,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where you are and what you're doing, you know, and so, hey, it's hard to come home and cook a real balanced meal, and it just doesn't happen, you know. So I said if I could target single mothers, you know, and show them how to raise a significant income right at home, you know, that's one of my goals.
Oh, that's nice. That's a nice way to help people too, just like your dad did.
Yeah, well, you know.
You learn from the best.
And that's what my wife, she said, you keep getting involved. She said, why don't you just sit home and enjoy your retirement? I said, well, hey, I I got too many people I can help.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. This has been lovely, and I'll
Yes.
stop the camera.
Okay. Oh, I'd like to say one other thing. I've joined the Pasadena Rotarians and the Rotary, and which is really works through the community with all the schools, and that's been great for me.
Wonderful.
Because we really get to work with all the outstanding high school students all over the area. They constantly give out honors and awards.
That's nice.
Yeah, we gave out 7 yesterday, 5 to the ROTC program, and 2 to 2 other honor students, Blair, Muir, and Pasadena.
Oh,
And,
nice.
and the week before, we gave out 5 awards to honored 5 veterans that are in the Pasadena City College Veterans Program.
Excellent.
You know, and so that keeps me involved in the community.
Yeah.
And Rotary does great work, and it just kind of put me in a good environment.
That's lovely. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much.